How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today I bring you a crazy story. I saw this on my news feed on my new phone. I had to get it out to you guys. I have not really read it all the way. I just kind of skimmed through it a little bit to see what was going on. But you see the headline over my left-hand shoulder here. It says, Trump supporters can't stand the idea of a smelly armpit or a stinky foot. A study found, and psychologists are not surprised. Now, before we even get into the article, before we even see what's going on with this, why would anybody be surprised that something like this over here, if the person was stinking, would not be a good thing for us to be indulging in? I mean, if it stinks, then it doesn't smell good. I mean, isn't that the definition of the word stink or foul smelling? I can't tell what the purpose of this article is. I mean, we got to read it, of course, but I would guess if I was just a random guy on the street and didn't know anything, which is pretty much what I am right now because I have not really read the article, I'd be thinking that they're trying to say that conservatives are more cleanly than liberals. Maybe we look at things like stinky armpits and smelly feet in a negative way, whereas those on the left may be more engaged in sloth and filth and think it's okay. I don't really know. I'm just putting it out there, but let's see what the article says. And by the way, this is some nasty stuff right here. I don't know what's going on with your man with the mask on, smelling this woman's armpit. I think she's an actress. I'm not really sure what the context of this is. It looks kind of strange. You got an audience behind them. I don't know what's going on. I'm not judging, so I'm going to go ahead and digress. Scientists surveyed Trump and Clinton supporters a month before the 2016 election and found differences in how the two groups reacted to body odors. Socially conservative voters were more sensitive when presented with the idea of a stinky fart or a smelly armpit. Pause right there. I'm socially conservative. I don't like people farting in my face or stinking like they just got done playing full court basketball. I didn't know that was a political thing. I had no idea that body odor was supposed to be a thing that you were comfortable smelling. I just don't understand, but let's keep going. It's a finding that aligns with years of study on psychological differences between people who hold socially conservative and liberal views. Okay, I wonder if they're going to say what the liberal reaction is to farts and armpits. And the article reads, does the idea of smelling someone's stinky feet gross you out? Yes, it does. I don't think that smelling someone's stinky feet is really a thing I really want to be engaged in. I'd rather not do that, actually. That's not something I'm really cool with. How about accidentally sniffing a stranger's fart or standing next to someone wearing a sweaty t-shirt? I mean, come on, this is just nasty at this point. I don't see why those would be things that you would be comfortable doing, regardless of your political affiliation, race, or whatever. If it stinks, it stinks, and you're not going to like things that stink. Turns out supporters of President Donald Trump are especially grossed out by these ideas. That's according to a new study released Wednesday from scientists at Stockholm University in Sweden. Very interesting. Why are they doing this study? That's what I want to know. Why is this study being conducted? A psychologist surveyed 391 American adults online in October 2016, a month before the presidential election. The participants represented a mix of personalities and demographics. 172 were men and 219 women. That's very interesting about how many more women there were. And I kind of already knew it would be like that from the very beginning, but I digress. 36% supported Trump over Clinton, a number that tracked closely with national polling at the time, and roughly half of the group were college grads. Alrighty. Time and again, the researchers found that when they asked questions like whether a participant would be grossed out by a neighbor's stinky feet, farts, urine, feces, or armpit smells, Trump supporters were predictably more sensitive to the idea of foul body odor. Now, I take that as a compliment. I take that as a point of pride. I don't think that anybody would disagree with me on that. That's a Trump supporter. I think that, that's a good thing that we don't like things that stink. Human waste. We're not big fans of that. Hey, if your body odor is kicking, you need to go take a shower. You need to leave my presence, do something. I'm just not a fan. I'm actually a neat freak, really, to the point where it's almost OCD, but that's a different story. The researchers said the finding isn't true across the board for all conservatives, but it was closely linked with people's support for socially conservative ideas and endorsement of President Trump. Quote, this relationship seems to be explained by a particular aspect of social conservatism called right-wing authoritarianism. So let me get this straight. If you do not like the smell of human feces, urine, armpits, feet, all that stink, you are linked with right-wing authoritarianism. So I guess you got to just be more open to people. You know what I think this is? I think I kind of figured it out. You know what's going on right now in these countries where you're having the so-called migration crisis, right? People from all over the world, third world countries, they're urinating on the ground, defecating on the ground. And the liberals say that's okay. That's not really a big problem. Let's let them do that. Let's pass bills and ordinances that allow them to do that. And I think in San Fran, they have an app that you can put on your phone. It's a poop tracker. I'm not making this up. If I could find an article or something that backs up what I'm saying, I'll link that in the box below. But basically, the poop tracker will tell you certain streets in San Fran to avoid because there's doo-doo on the ground. So you don't want to get your Stacey Adams or your Doc Martens messed up on your way to work or your way to play. But I'll move on in the article. Lead author Marco Tullio Luisa told Business Insider in the email about the right-wing authoritarianism. This right-wing authoritarianism, he said, includes an acceptance of authority and a hostility towards groups that don't closely adhere to a traditional social order. I told you. I did not read this before. I did not see that, but I already knew what that was. That last line right there is exactly what I just said. You got these immigrants come from third world countries where they can just pull their pants down, pop a squat, and handle their business right there in the street. They come over here, do the same thing. People that are conservative don't like that. But people that are liberal say, oh, no, it's okay because where they come from, that's what they do. And all this and the third, they try to make all these excuses for them and all these rules for them. That's what this is. I know what this is. Conservatives don't like being grossed out. I don't really think anybody does, honestly. I think even those on the left that want to excuse the foul behavior of, homeless vagrants, people that are mentally ill, people that come from third world countries, whatever the case may be, people excuse those behaviors, but I don't think they actually like that they're being grossed out. They think that it's not really fair or okay to criticize them because of the circumstances. That's what that is. But back to the article. Psychologists have previously found that socially conservative people look away from gross images like blood and vomit quicker than liberals. Conservatives' brains are also more active in areas that are associated with processing fear. So I guess if we don't like, things that are gross, the word gross, nasty, disgusting, these words don't come from nowhere. These words are not politically partisan. It's not like we are just strange human beings for having negative reactions to things that have been defined and classified for years as being negative. Being grossed out is not a bad thing. Such reactions have helped humans survive for millennia. Exactly. As we made our way through a world of pathogens, it's helpful to get turned off by any potential germy foreign objects or stinky stuff. Louisa said the strong reaction of conservatives, quote, may share an evolutionary source with an emotion that evolved to protect our bodies by poisonous substances and diseases, unquote. That's correct. I agree with him on that. But other recent research has suggested that socially conservative people's ability to get easily grossed out can extend into prejudice for unfamiliar groups like immigrants or gay people. Did I not tell you they were going to bring in the immigrants? I knew it. I knew where it was going from the beginning. When I saw Stockholm, Sweden, I'm like, okay. And then when I saw, conservatives, they're more easy to get grossed out and fear. I'm like, okay, I see where this is going. This is about the immigrants, so-called immigrants that come to countries. They come from third world places like maybe parts of India, Africa, wherever they come from, where they can just doo-doo on the ground, especially India and also the Middle East. Definitely in the Middle East, North Africa. They come to places like Germany, Sweden, etc. They just do their business right there on the ground, in the mall, airport, wherever they want. They don't use a toilet. They just do their business wherever, like dogs. And then we say, hey, this is disgusting. You guys can't come over here and do that. And then the left says, hey, you're being xenophobic, you're being racist. It's like, nah, if you're over here, at least respect the laws of the land. Don't doo-doo on the ground. The researchers caution that while the trend is an interesting psychological finding, it accounts for only a small portion of individual differences when it comes to people's political preferences. In other words, you can't know for sure who your neighbor voted for just because they're wrinkling their nose. This was a crazy, crazy article. Oh, yeah. I almost forgot this picture right here of Trump eating, I guess this is a big ice cream cone. I guess this is the whole 2 scoops, 3 scoops or whatever. The subhead here says, U.S. President Donald Trump once proposed banning handshakes because he hates how they spread germs. Yeah, I mean, who wants to spread germs, really? Who really wants to spread germs? I mean, come on. At the end of the day, let's just go ahead and close this out, wrap it on up, put a nice bow on top. This article is basically trying to paint conservatives as being fearful of people that are different. It's trying to paint us as xenophobes. And then they say we're afraid of the people. We're afraid of what they bring. We're afraid of them. That's what this is. It's not even about, you know, the humorous nature of the headline. It's an underlying thing trying to paint us as people that just don't like immigrants. My thing, as I close, is that I don't think anybody wants to live in a society, and you know, in first world countries, we don't want to live in a place where it's okay to urinate on the ground, to defecate on the ground. I don't even want to get into the whole thing about the drug abusers, the drug addicts leaving their paraphernalia all over the ground. Who wants to live in a place like that? If I wanted to live in a place like that, then I go to the Middle East, I go to Africa, I go to somewhere like that where you have that kind of culture that's widely accepted. I do not live in that kind of place right now. I want to keep America as America, not into some kind of third world banana republic with just all types of human waste strewn about the ground. So what do you think? Do you think that this article is trying to paint us in a bad light as conservatives? Are you a liberal? Do you believe in the converse of what this article is saying? Because although it was not said, it was heavily implied. They said that conservatives are more likely to be grossed out by certain smells. So does that mean that you as a liberal, you're just a nasty person, you're disgusting, you're a pig? Does that mean that you appreciate things that stink more than we do? Or do you think that it's ridiculous to say that stinky things and a person's reaction to it is a partisan issue? I think that all people, regardless of whether you left, right, center, agnostic politically, I think all people can agree that if a thing stinks, it stinks, and you don't want to be anywhere near it. If you are on a train and then you see some feces on the ground, you're going to try to avoid it. You're going to get as far away as possible. Same thing with urine or whatever. If you're in an elevator and you smell urine, you're not going to appreciate that smell. Anywhere where you smell things that don't smell right, you want to get away. They even said that in the article, but they still tried to assign fear and xenophobia to those on the right for having a natural human emotion. But whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.